Trading cricket, racing and football, you're listening to the Sports Trader Podcast, brought to you by thesportstrader.com.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the second T20 between England and Pakistan. We're going to be having a look at some different strategies today. We've got England winning the toss and bowling first. So if we flick over to Cricinfo, we can have a look at the teams. And I'm being told by the guys in the room that they are unchanged from the first match, which of course was washed out. Apparently we did quite well on the completed match market, and I have no memory of it whatsoever. That's one of the things I'm going to be talking about to the guys in the 100 Club this week is the mindset with sports trading. A lot's changed for me over the last 10 years. I got into this because I needed something to do and I loved sport, and it was like I couldn't think of anything better than trading sport for a living. And whilst I still love it with the same passion that I did at the start, there's nothing in the world more that I would rather do than wake up of a morning and come and sit in here and talk to you guys and trade sport with you. What has changed is my opinion of the sport. I really don't care who wins games now. I forget them the minute they're finished and just move on to the next thing, particularly with horse racing. If you ask me the name of one horse that won a race yesterday, I wouldn't have a clue. And I don't even remember trading the first Pakistan-England cricket game. I really don't. And I couldn't tell you what day it was on. And I don't remember who won games. I mean, I remember yesterday Arsenal beat Liverpool in the Charity Shield. They won on penalties. I remember Arsenal winning the FA Cup, but I can honestly tell you I have no memory of who they beat or what the score was. And that's what's changing for me. The love of the sport's gone. It's now just a process of analysing, deciding, betting, making money, moving on. And that's changed. And a few things have come up online this week from people who've posted stuff that I just want to talk to you about this week, about the mental approach to sports betting and how a lot of people get into it with all the emotion and the passion because they love it. They think, oh, I love football, I'm going to make a living betting on it. And it actually turns out, and a lot of the reasons I say women make better sports traders than men is because they're not as emotionally attached to what they're trading. Women don't care about football. They don't care about horse racing. They don't care who wins. That's the perfect mental state to be a successful sports trader. There's no emotional attachment. Whereas if you're trading your favourite team and you've got a real interest on the sport, you'll make decisions based on that emotion. We all know, right? You've heard it all your life. Forget about betting. You've heard all your life, never make a big decision when you're emotional, right? And it's common sense, right? It's like, yeah, that's logical. If you've had a big fight with the missus or something, you don't stamp your feet and say, oh, that's it, I want a divorce, I'm out, slam the door and run out. You stay calm and rational and you talk about it later that day or the next day, or quitting your job. Your boss is giving you a hard time. You don't just go, I'm quitting, I'm out the door. You got to stay calm and think rationally and think, well, if I quit this job, I'm not going to have any money. Where am I going to get another job? And so we teach ourselves never make a decision when you're emotional, which is great logic. So if you then apply that to sports trading, don't make decisions when you're emotional. You know, if you've had a big loss on something, so many people will get their whole bank and lump it onto the next thing to get their money back, or they'll bet more than they should, or they'll bet on something unfamiliar. You know, if you're looking for a goal in a game and it doesn't come, and then you lose a good chunk of money, a lot of people just go to the next game anywhere and go, oh, I'm going to bet on a goal in this game and get my money back. So they're making a decision when they're emotional, and it's really bad policy. And so we're going to have a look at that week, but we're going to have a look at that this week. But it's something that I found that I've just become immune to the sport. I used to love sitting and watching a game, and I was sitting downstairs watching. I walked away from the computer. I went downstairs, put the big telly on rather than my little office TVs, and sat downstairs and watched it. And I was dead bored. I was on my phone checking what you guys were saying in Telegram, and I was, just looking at other things. And before half time, I turned the game off and just said to the missus, I'm just going back up the office. I said, it's more fun with these guys. And, I've got no interest in the game. All I cared about was if Arsenal scored and if there wasn't more than 3 goals. And we got both. We laid the over 2.5. We backed Arsenal. And that was my only interest. I had no interest in any of the players or the game itself. And it was just terrible. There was no atmosphere. There was nobody there. You normally get a bit revved up by seeing the crowd showing a bit of emotion, and they're all jumping up and down and screaming, and they're excited for the game. And it's just like they walk on. One of the dumbest things I saw yesterday was the ground announcer. As they walked onto the field, the ground announcer was really hyped up and all emotional and I'm like, mate, who are you talking to? There's no one there. We can't hear you because the commentators are talking. You're only talking to the players and the reserves, hearing their names called out. There was no one else there. And then having all the fireworks and lifting the trophy at the end. And I'm like, well, what's that all about? I guess you get to see it on TV and they can watch it back. Anyway, I digress. Let's go and have a look. Now, look, if you don't have a lot of time to analyse a game, which I haven't, right, here's a little shortcut. Let's go and have a look at Sporting Index, okay? So when you just don't have time to get on the analysis that you want to do. So I just go to Sporting Index and I look at England, Pakistan. So Pakistan runs 20 overs. The market's got it 154, 160. So I instantly know, with doing no research, that the people that have done their research make this around 157. Okay, so we're looking at a par score here of about 160. Now, England are going to chase. They like to chase. So I'm going to bump that up myself to 170. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can go and find my projected score web sheet and spreadsheet. And I'm going to do a new share for you and see if we can just quickly fill this in. Okay, so you should be seeing this now. This was St Kitts versus Zouk. So we'll quickly go and change this to, yeah, that's all right. I'll just go over it. England v Pakistan. Okay, so you've got your overs here. So if we're expecting 170, okay, I want to find out how we're going to get to, well, I don't want to actually do that. So if we're going to get to 170, we've got to work out how we think they're going to do it. Okay, so I'm expecting, say, 45 off the first one. So just, yeah, that's going to equal these. So 45 off the first 6. And then let's go for 35 off the second, 35 off the third, and 55 to finish. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 3 off that. So I'm going to take 5 off that, actually, 50, and I'm going to add 5 to these. So I'm going to add 38 to that and 37 to that. So that gives me my 170. So this is what I would expect for them to get 170. We're going to need these sort of runs. So that's what the score has to be at the end of this period. Actually, there's no score. Obviously, there's no score at the moment, so we'll get rid of that. And then there's no wickets at the moment, so we can get rid of that. And can somebody tell me the price Pakistan were just now when they started the game, please? What was that? Does anyone know? The match is on BBC One, is it? So it is. Let's see who's behind. So it seems Sky's about two seconds in front of BBC. Okay, 157 England, so that makes Pakistan around 285. Or 240. Oh, yeah, of course it would. 150. Yeah, no, they'd be too short, Damo. I'm going to put in 260. I mean, they've just started, so let's go and see what they are now. They're 240 now, so let's go and put in, where am I? I've lost my sheet. Sorry, I want my sheet back. That's what we want. I'm going to go and put in 2.6. Okay, and then we'll put in the price at the end of the 6 overs, and we'll see what the price is there. And this will give us the run rate as well. And then what we do is we put in the chase and we just see how we go. So what I think, for me, what I'm trying to do here is work out what score Pakistan need to make this an even money game in my head. So let's take the group here, all right? Let's go and find out the price, the score that you guys think make this even money. So let's start with an easy one. If Pakistan make 150, who do you guys see winning the game? England. Okay, England. Okay. If Pakistan make 160, who do you see winning the game? England, slide edge, England. Okay, what about 165 on the board? Let's put 165 up there for Pakistan. Who wins the game? England, Shawshank. Okay. All right, mate, we understand. Just one will do. Let's go to 170. Pakistan make 170. Who you got winning now? Close, says Scott. England for Shawshank. Pakistan favourites for Nick. So you guys are with me with that batting. Okay, Shawshank, so that's cool. So I'll ask you, Shawshank, 175. Who are you backing now? 20 overs are gone. Pakistan have got 175 on the board. England need 176 to win. Who are you backing? Odds. Well, I'd have Pakistan if it's 170. If it's 175, I'd have Pakistan about 1.75. Their bowling's far better than their batting, Pakistan. So I think you guys generally agree with me, right, that 170 to 175 is going to be around par. That would make it an even money game. So therefore, to keep it at even money, if Pakistan can keep up with this rate, we should be on them, all right? So at the moment, we don't really know because we don't know if they're going to get close to this 45 or not. But what I would say is if Pakistan score less than 45 in this first 6 over period, if they score less than 45, their price will be or should be higher than 2.6. If they score 55, they might be 220, 215 or something like that, 210. And if they score 65, they'll be odds on. So this just gives me a guide, right? There's no, I'm happy to share this spreadsheet with you, but before I sort of just hand it out, I want to sort of teach you how I use it and what I'm doing. It's just in my head, Andy. It's just a guide. There's nothing to work out. All I've done here is I've gone to Sporting Index and I've seen that their spread is, let me go and have a quick look at it. Their spread was 154 to 160. So they make it 157, okay? And that'll change every ball. So if we go and have a quick look, what's going, I didn't want to stop share, screen share, Google Chrome. Right, so if you see here now, they've got 156, 162. So they've had a price of 157. So they think Pakistan's slightly in front of what they had them pegged for. So that means the price will have come down a bit. So if I go and check the price of England now. So they've come down to 246 from 260. So I'm going to have a small back bet at this stage. I'm going to add to this, but I'm just going to back Pakistan at this stage just for 20. I'll probably end up with 50 on them overall, but I'm just going for 20 at 148, which I've just got. So that's a nice shot. That's going to go for 4. You beauty. So that will be a nice little drop down to 230. So I'm in the green already, which is good. So what I was just explaining to Andy is this spreadsheet is just completely out of my head. All it does, Andy, is just helps me think during the game. There's nothing logical or strategic to it. What I've done here, it's just a case of what do I think Pakistan are going to get? Well, based on what Sporting Index have said, they went for 167. So I've just gone for 170. So if you then think, Andy, if they get, there's no difference, Neil. You can either back Pakistan or lay England. It's exactly the same bet in a binary market. It's identical. If I'd laid England, it's the same. So see, if I go and back for 100, you see the price goes up, the profit goes up to 162 or 120. All right. So if I go and lay England for 136 quid, you see it's now 120. It's the same. It's the same bet. So backing Pakistan is identical to laying England in a two-way market. You see, I've still got the profit on Pakistan and the loss on England either way. So going back to Andy and this spreadsheet, all I've done, Andy, is I've tried to work out if Sporting Index are accurate and if I think, yep, they're going to get to 170, how are they likely to do it? Well, we know from the history of T20 that they're likely to get more runs in the first 6 overs with the field in tight than they'll get in the second. So I've put 45. Then I've just put 37. But, mate, you could make that 35 or 40. There's another great shot for 4. You beauty. And then I've gone, okay, a little bit more, 38, no difference really, 7 to 10, 11 to 15. Then you're hoping that they've got wickets in hand and over 16 to 20 is, if they're 3 or 4 down, then you go big at the end and they might get 50 off the last 4 overs when they're trying to blurt sixes all over the shop. So that's my gauge. I mean, what you could do here is you could put more on the front end if you like. You could make this 55 and make this end bit 40. But it's just purely my opinion. There's no formula here, Andy. Does that make sense? This is just me pitting myself against the market as a trader and what's finding value. So then I put what the expected score is at the end of the power play. So let's just say hypothetically, right, they're 55. So you see that's changed to 10 because they're now 10 runs in front of where I thought they would be. And then that now, if I add the 37 to that actual score, it now makes 92. I expect them to be 92 after 10. Oh, I'm showing the Sporting Index screen. Sorry. Let's go back. Okay, thanks, guys. So let me just go back here and do that again. I'll just quickly run over it again for you, Andy. So what I've done is 170, I think that, and Sporting Index think 167. So I work out what I think is going to happen. So I've put 45, 37, 38, 50. That's just based on like my knowledge of T20 and what I think will happen. They'll probably get more in the first period than the second and third, and they'll go for the big hits at the end. So I'm expected score end of periods 45. Let's say they get 58. So they get 58. That puts me plus 13. So they're 13 runs ahead of where I think they're going to be. Okay? So therefore, if I now look at this figure, it's gone from, let's get rid of that. it's going to add what they have. So if I put that 58 back, I now expect 58 plus 37. After 10 overs, I'd expect them to be 95. And then let's say they get exactly 37 in the second period. Okay, then the 37 plus the 38 is now, well, that shouldn't be, no, well, the actual score wouldn't be 37, it'd be 97. Let's say they get 97. So they're 2 extra runs to what I expected. So now for the third period, they'd be 135. Let's say they go to 128 for the third period. They lost 7 overall in that period, but I expect them to finish on 178. So let's say they do finish on 178, hypothetically, then they're 0 and they'd be bang on like I'd expect them to be, pretty close to even money. But you see here, if they end up 58, that should be, this has to change. I've got to change this. So it equals that divided by 6. So that'd be a run rate of 967. And that would be, divided by 10, divided by 15, and divided by 20. So that would be right. So that's 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 runs off that over. So they've currently got a run rate of 8. So at the moment, they're going to end up around, if they keep that going, they're going to end up around 48. It's 24 off 3. Neil's asked, is it worth delving into the stats for those phases of play? So to put in the average expected runs for each 5 overs based on, say, last 10 games. No, you definitely could, Neil. And for those that have the big databases, that would be great. I don't really have access to it at the moment. But also, it's difficult because, when did England last play a T20? And are they in form? And how does it stand up? And what are the weather conditions like? It's muggy and overcast here. You can see Morgan there rubbing his hands. They've all got jumpers on. It's cold. It's, so the ball's not going to fly through the air as much. I think you've just got to take it on an individual basis. But you definitely can look at past scores for Old Trafford. If someone wants to go and have a look at that, let's go and I'll see if I can just do it quickly. I don't know if there'll be anywhere that's sort of got it. Past score, T20. Is it at Old Trafford? Is that where they are? I guess they are. They're in Manchester, aren't they? So past score, T20, Old Trafford. So venue statistics. So you go to Crickmetric and we can have a look. So Old Trafford, T20. All right, outcomes of T20 at Manchester last 10 years. So the team batting first only wins 16% of the game. So it's a chasing ground. Team batting second has won 50%, but there were no results in 3 of them. So average versus economy for bowlers. So Chinaman, spinners, that should say. It's a bit racist, isn't it? Chinaman. Fast, orthodox spin, leg spin, medium, off break. There's all sorts of stuff here. Average first inning scores. You see how there's not a lot of data here, mate, because you only normally get 1 T20, Neil, international at a ground per year. So they got 153.8, and then in 2014 it was 172, 165, 148, 158, 164, 158. So you could see my price here of 170 is probably a bit high. So I think if Pakistan can get 170 on the board here, that's a decent total based on what we've seen before. So if you look at outcomes of T20 matches, not just internationals, then the team batting first has won nearly 60%, 25 times. And only 16 times, 38%, has the team chasing won. So that's why Pakistan have won the toss and elected to bat. You could see why they've done that. So then you can go and have a look at stuff like, that, and you can see who's, the economy rate. So spinners, do much better, lower economy rates than the faster bowlers. You know, they're getting up 8.59 per over for the faster bowlers. If we go back up here, you see here you've got this. The fast bowlers have done all right here, actually, 6.5 per over. The spinners not so well. But, yeah, you can look at stuff like that and you go and work it out. We'll see what else we've got here, Neil, that may be of interest. Let's go and see if we've got anything else. So ESPN, Crick Info, you all know the Crick Info site. So you can go and have a look here and we can look at, let's see if we can find T20 internationals. And then you can go and sort of search for high totals, low totals, average scores and stuff like that. You know, but do you want to start counting T20 blast matches? There's not that many to go off, mate. So I think overall, I just like to go off the game. So look, Neil, these guys here are pretty accurate. They're bookmakers. It's how they make their living. So I think if you just generally go off that as a guide, you're going to be pretty close. Pakistan's going to go pretty close to getting 160 here. Swallowed my tea the wrong way. There's another lovely fall for Pakistan. So see, this has now gone up, 161, 167. So they're going quite well. But they're going to end up pretty close to my 45. They're 31 off 4 overs. So if they just get 7 and over off the next 2, they're going to land right on my 45. So hopefully they can surpass it. And at the moment, the price has only come in to 234. So it's not moving. Because they're pretty well staying with what I'm expecting, the price isn't moving. The price will only move if you massively overperform or underperform on what we're expecting. If what the market's expecting happens, then the prices are not going to change. Therefore, if that's a great shot, that is a great shot. Cut shot for 4 off the first ball. So for me, right, if they land bang on 45, the price won't change that much. But if they'd only got 25, their price would massively drift. And if they got 65, they'd probably be odds on. So I'm just using this sheet as a bit of a guide to keep my prices intact. Because here's an example. Let's say they get 65 off the first 6 overs, and they're still priced at 2.4. Well, for me, that would be immense value. I'd be all over it. So Bet365 have got 159.5 runs, and Sporting Index at the moment are 164, 170. So I would be, Shashank, I would be backing above 159.5. If you can get it, I would be jumping all over that. Before those 2 4s, was it? Okay. Is that another 4? No, there'll be someone out there for sure. But that's a great start. Jordan's got none for 14 off, 6 balls, 7 balls. So he's going at 12 and over at the moment. Sometimes I think the faster bowlers help. So, yeah, Neil, to finish off your question, I think it does all depend on the conditions. This is quite overcast here. The sun's not out, but if you've got a baking hot day on a great track and it's 25 degrees, it's completely different. There's another superb 4. Pakistan are going to go close to being even money soon. They're currently into 2.14. So they're going quite well. And they're going to easily surpass my price here of 260. So we'll see where they end up, but they're going really well. And this is setting a huge platform for the second power play at the end. Well, we didn't quite time that. But if he'd just gone onto that properly, that would have been another 4. So Neil's saying, just curious on average if there's data on what teams generally tend to get for the first 5, middle 10 and last 5. Neil, there is, but that's pretty well factored into what you're looking at with Bet365 and a Sporting Index. They factor all that in with far much more data than I've ever got. So I don't bother. I just look at what the market's expecting and then work out, well, if the market's right, how will they get that many runs? And this is how I think they'll get the runs, by 45, 37, 38 and 50. And in my opinion, if they end up with bang on 170, it's going to be a 50-50 game. Because if we go back to those other stats, you see only 16% of chasing teams win and 60% of teams batting first win at Old Trafford. So it's definitely a batting track, if that makes sense. So do we have any... Let's go and have a quick look at something. I want to go and have a look over here. We do have a Caribbean Premier League game starting, don't we? Yeah, Barbados Tridents versus the Zooks in 20 minutes. And then we've got the second game tonight coming up, St. Kitts versus Guyana. I mean, Guyana Amazon Warriors last year didn't lose a game until they got to the final, which they then lost. This year, I don't think they've won a game. They are the Zooks of 2020. And the Zooks last year, that barely won a game, they won, I think, one or two based on they got lucky with some Duckworth Lewis. They are winning everything this year. We're going to have a look at the CPL points table. You'll see the Zooks are right up the top there. Look at that. They're in second place there between the team that they're playing tonight. They're playing Trinbago. No, they're not. They're playing Barbados Tridents, sorry. Let me check that. Who are they playing? They're playing the Tridents. So you've got the Tridents, okay, at 1.7 and the Zooks at 2.4, and yet the Zooks have won 4 games out of 6 and the Tridents have won 2 out of 6. Can someone explain to me how the Tridents are favourites for this game when they've lost 4 of their last 5 games and the Zooks have won 4 of their last 5 games? I'm going to be all over the Zooks at 240. I love the Zooks this year. A great shot for 4. Straight over the top. That's going to surpass my 45. So they are now on 47 with 3 balls left in this first power play. So we'll watch the 3 balls and then we'll go back to our chart and see where we are. Let's go and see how the price is going here. Let's go back to Cricket England. I'm in the wrong one. They've put up the run lines there. Make an offer. No, I'm good, thanks. I'll just go to match odds. They're 210, so Pakistan's coming down. So it's going to be 48. See, what this means, if I go back to my sheet for you, what this means is, I'll just actually see, tell me how this looks, guys. If I just do this, if I just do that, are you still seeing this sheet now? Is that still clear? If I'm just going like this rather than, so you're happy looking at it like that rather than me having to change shares all the time? That works? Cool. So now we can see both. So I can just make this a bit smaller and we can see the prices there. We can see my position and we can see what we're doing here. All right, so let's go and have a look. Babar Azam is 22 off 20 and Fakar Zaman is 27 off 16. He's been going all right. That's a good start. That's a partnership of 50 off 36 balls. So there's 1 ball to go till the end of the power play and then we'll fill our sheet in. That's going to be 51 off the 6 overs. So you go in here and you put 51. So I'll get rid of the 97, the 128, the 178. So you can see here that they are 6 in front of where I expect. There's no wickets down and their SP of 2.6 is now 2.08. And the run rate is bang on 8.5. So what that means is this 6 runs can now be absorbed in here somewhere. I think you can do, Andy. I don't think that would be the dumbest move ever. I think it's about a 70% chance that Pakistan's price drifts from here. It usually does after the power play. That run rate will drop from 8.5 now, probably back round to 6.5, 7.5 per over. And I think you'll find that the price will drift. But on the other hand, and this is something you've got to decide as a sports trader. On the other hand, they haven't lost any wickets, so they might be in a bit of a mood to keep going and have a bit of a crack. So we'll just see. But do you see now how I set this up to have them at even money, okay? And yet they were 260. They're only 6 runs difference from what I was expecting, and yet the price is nearly even money. So what that tells us as traders is my pricing is a bit more accurate than the market. The market was too big at 260. Batting first on a track where 60% of teams win batting first, they shouldn't have been 260. It was too high, because they're only 6 runs in front of where I expect, and yet they've come down to near even money. So it's good when it works that way, and you think, well, it gives you confidence that you're okay at sort of pricing markets and knowing where the value is. But I think a back bet of Pakistan now is probably poor value as opposed to a lay. Because for them to come down in price from here, they're going to have to massively exceed this 37 off the next 4 overs. And that's nearly 10 and over to get them these 37, because you've only got overs 7, 8, 9 and 10. So they need to maintain that rate. So I think they're going to be higher. So I'm now going to go and flip my position, and I'm going to go and lay Pakistan, and I'm going to lay them for 50 at 2.1. I'm going to lay them for 51 at 2.1. Actually, now I'm going to have to go. I can get 2.12. See if I can sneak in and get 2.12. There's no upside for Pakistan here. There's only downside. If they lose a wicket, their price goes out. If they slow the run rate, their price goes out. It's only if they exceed expectations, their price comes down. And I think England will now get the choke on, and you'll see their price drift. Probably back out by the 10th over to around 230, 240, if England can keep a lid on it. You've got Rashid bowling now. That one kept a bit low. That's a great shot, but that kept low. That's not a good sign. Rashid will be happy with that. Decent shot, though. Is this making sense to you guys, or am I just sort of confusing you a bit? So please don't think I'm saying that, this is the only and the gospel way to trade cricket. This is just how I do it. I try and have a bit of a plan. And what I'll do at the end of this innings is I will see whatever target Pakistan get, I will then try and figure out how would England try and break this down. So at the moment, if I go and put this on, say, 40, you see here, if they get 50, 40, 38, 43, they'll get the 171. But this might be a bit high, see? So I might have to chase this back to 36, make that 45, and, maybe add another one to here. It's just a guesswork. But what this is called is what I'm doing is an educated guess. So it is a guess, I'm being honest with you, because nobody knows what's going to happen. All sports betting is a guess. Do you think a goal will come? Do you think he'll score 12 off this over, or will they lose 2 wickets? It's all a guess. That's a great shot. So because they've got 10 wickets, they're going for it here. Now that can lead to 2 things happening. One, that can lead to wickets, He's just smashed that straight over mid-off, gone the aerial route, and there's no one out there. Huge open space. So we'll just see. So this is my logic, guys. If at the end of this 4-over period, if Pakistan get 37 and end up around 88, my price would be even money. So if they're 1.8, I would lay them. If they're 2.2, I would back them. So I'm basing this spreadsheet on a price of even money and then looking at the end of it, which as you see is accurate. If they get 45, they should be even money, which they just about were, but the market slightly favoured England. So that's how I'm sort of looking at it. And then you can see if you're out of whack with the market. And then if you are, it takes a lot of courage to go against the market and think, oh, well, they've got Pakistan at 180 and I think they're even money. Have you got the confidence in your ability to lay them at 180 because you think it's a value bet? The rest of the market obviously think the right price is 180. And that's all sports trading is. If you can be right more often than the market, you have to make money. And if you're making value bets, then you've only got to be right just above 55% or 50% of the time. Maybe 53 because you got commission, haven't you? And you're paying 2%. So if you're making value bets and you're right on those decisions more than 53% of the time, then you've got to make money. That's all we're doing here. So you can see I've still got a bit of profit here. I've got £1.12 in front at the moment. Pakistan have had a good start, but you see their run rates dropped. They were 8.5. They're now 8.3. So despite the rate dropping, their prices dropped, and I don't understand that logic. If the rates dropped, why is the price dropped? Now you're back to an even money game, which is exactly where I had them. So it's good. It's working out pretty fine for us so far. And then we just do the same process for the second innings. If they get 170, we think it's an even money game. So let's say it is. Then for England to stay even money, they'd need to get 51 runs off the first 6. If they only got 35, then England should be around 2.5. And if they were still even money, you should lay them. But, you know, if they get 60 and they're still even money, you should back them. It's just all about making value bets, which is all we're trying to do here. That's a big 6. That's a terrible ball. And he's hit that out of the park. So now we've just moved into red territory. We're just minus 116 at the moment. But we know with T20 that one wicket brings you right back. If they lost a wicket now, they'd go to probably 220, 230. The market's just liking them a little bit here because they've still got 10 wickets intact. But that was a real buffet ball from Rashid. I think with the cold weather, it's just a bit, he's not loose, he's not getting his arm, he's bowling in a sweater, and the old joints, I know for me, the old joints are a bit stiff when it's cold. I can see when I hit 65, I'm going to have to retire from doing my webinars for you and go live in Australia. This will be the first wicket. There we go. And let's see where the price goes, out to 210. A bit shorter than I thought. I thought it'd go to 220. It touched 210 there. But we're back in profit and we're back at an even money game. And that's not a big deal for Pakistan. I mean, they're nearly halfway through the innings, and to only lose one wicket at this stage is definitely not a bad thing. If you live by the sword, you die by the sword. They were going for the big shots, the big scores, and that is likely to happen. That's why you don't panic when you see a team doing that. They hit a couple of sixes, but you know that, yeah, mate, mishit one of them and it's all over. That's the great thing about cricket. You see, Rashid was just a little bit off his line with that first ball and he got hit for 6. But then the batsman was a little bit offline with that shot and it's fatal. He's gone. Whereas Rashid gets to bowl another ball to him. You know what I mean? It's more forgiving as a bowler. You can make a mistake, but you get a chance to make amends for your error. As a batsman, you make an error, it's good night nurse. You're off the ground and go and put your feet up, have a cup of tea and a cookie while your mates do the job. So that one just held up in the wicket a bit. He put a bit of backspin on it. But the rate is still hanging around that 8.5. So I'd expect the market to stay at even money because a rate of 8.5 per over gets them to exactly 170. So if they hang around that 850, they're bang on. He knew as soon as he hit that. Well, I think if this was even money at half time and Pakistan got 170, I think I'd be lumping any profit I have onto England. If any of you have been keeping up with the form of Tom Banton, Shashank, did you see Banton's innings the other day? How good was that? So that's a memory. I think that must have been from the first T20. So I do remember some of it. I remember him having an immaculate. It was like, yeah, and he was great in the Big Bash as well. Oh, you're in the party. That's right. You're having your coronavirus party. So it looks like Hamilton's cruising to another win in the Belgian Grand Prix. He's 3 seconds ahead of his teammate Valtteri Bottas, and Verstappen is 1.4 seconds behind that. And they're exactly halfway through the GP, 22 laps of 44 gone. So we go and have a look what else is on. The Caribbean Premier League has started. No, it's about to start, 3 o'clock. They're just walking onto the field now. I was trying to find, I thought it was on TV, but apparently it's not. So I'll go and have a quick look over here in the football. It must have been yesterday. Did Rangers play yesterday then? Did Rangers win yesterday? Yep, they won 2-0. Okay, so they're obviously they're on top. So that's, if you have a look at Rangers form, guys, for those of you that are interested, I think that is 6 clean sheets for Rangers this season. Let's go and have a quick look at something. I don't think they've done that since 1930 something. Let's go and have a look very quickly at Form Labs here. Let's check something out. Stephen Gerrard's just got them defending unbelievably. Scotland. So Rangers versus Dundee is their next one. So if we go and have a look at a pre-match query this season, and I'll do all. So they've put up, why have they got 20 games there? They haven't got the new season up. It's very strange. Why have they not done that? I have to get onto them about that. We just do last 10 games and see what comes up. Yeah, so 2021. So here they all are here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games this season. Look, 1-0, 3-0, 3-0, 0-0 with Livingston, 2-0 and 2-0. Rangers haven't conceded a goal this season. And I think it's the first time that they've started with 6 clean sheets since the 1930s or something. I think I read that. I'll see if I can find it for you. If I go and find this email that I got from the guys, and let's just have a quick look at this while we're waiting. Hamilton versus Rangers, right? They did. So Hamilton versus Rangers, and I'm sure I read it somewhere in here. Hamilton following a 4th attempt to spot the Celtics. Yeah, look, in the league, Rangers have now registered 6 shutouts on the trot as they won all but that recent draw with Livingston, becoming the first Rangers side to begin a new campaign with 5 clean sheets since 1929-30. So now it's 6. Defensively, they're, rock solid. So there we go. Could someone help me out? What was the score at the end of the 10th over, please? And the price. I've got carried away here. What was the score at the end of that last over? I mean, I can go and find out on Crick Info. It'll just be here. So if I go commentary, end of over 10, 12 runs. Pakistan were 87 for 1. So they're 1 run behind where I've got them. They should be 88. They lost 1 wicket. And what was the price at the end of that last over? Did anybody see what they were, please? Can anyone tell me? Were they around 1.9, 1.8? What have you got? Anybody? It's okay. I'm going to go with 1.8 then, because there's only been 4 balls this over. And you see their run rate has increased to 8.7, hence the price movement from even money to 1.8. Neil, in particular, does that make sense to you, what the market's done here? To get 170, which we all think is par and an even money game, they need 8.5. So because they're now on 8.7, they're obviously shorter than even money because they're doing better than expected. Is that making sense to you guys? Hello, am I broadcasting or have I gone offline? I am. Malcolm, Bert, yeah, okay, cool. That's a great shot from the Zooks. That is 6. And I haven't got my bet on the Zooks, so let me go and I need to go and back the Zooks. I got too busy talking to you guys. So still around the same price. I'm going to go and put 25 on them at 2.3. I'll see if I can sneak 2.32. I'm just going to sneak in front of this 1800. So there's 232. And I'm getting some of it matched, I think. Yeah, someone's got to take that, surely. Well, that's out. Cancel that. Oh, I got it. Too late. Holder's got an LBW. It just shows you how far behind you are. If the market can move that quickly and there's meant to be an 8-second in-play delay, it's pretty clear that Betfair's market makers don't have any in-play delay. They can just move the market instantly. It's a massive disadvantage for us. They can see something happen and just go click and they get the bet, whereas we've got to wait 8 seconds for our bet to submit. So we'll just leave that there for the Zooks anyway. That's okay. If they lose another wicket in the power play, it's all over for them, unfortunately. We'll go back to Pakistan and England. Oh, Pakistan Super League. What am I doing? International T20. That could be out. No, he's dropped it in midfield. So they're still sitting at 169. So I'm only £3.70, £3.80 down on the deal at the moment. And I think Pakistan are a little bit short at the minute. So I'm going to go and lay them again at 168. And I'm going to go and put another 25 in here because I think they should be around 190 based on my spreadsheet. They're too short. So now a wicket puts me in a really nice position for them. So I've got that 168 and you can see I've effectively got Pakistan. I'm going to win 55, lose 44. So my average price is going to be around 193, 194. And the best way to find that, if you ever want to know what your average price is there's a very simple way to do it without doing any calculations whatsoever. So if we go and have a look at cricket, international T20, England, Pakistan. We've got England and Australia coming up on Friday night as well. So we might do that one. We might have Friday night pizza night. So what you can do, if you go to the ladder, you can see where the price increments change from, of the profit and loss changes from red to green. So you see here at 179, I'm losing 15p. And I'll just make this a bit bigger for you so you can see it clearly. And you see at 1.8, I'm making 16p. Effectively, my average price is 1.8. So I've effectively laid Pakistan at 1.8 here. So that just gives you your average price easily by looking at it. So I've backed them at 248. Then I've laid them at 212 and I've laid them again at 168. Overall, that effectively means I've laid them at 1.8 in total. Does that make sense to how to find your average price there? So I'm currently just losing £1.77, be £1.44 in a minute if that just pops up. So we can get rid of that points table and get rid of ranges. And there's another single. So if we go back to our spreadsheet, that's us, that's all we need. So, I mean, that's how you can set your screen up as well. You can see your prices there. You can see your profit and loss. We're only down 78p. So we're pretty well bang on. And the run rate has moved up to 9. That's why Pakistan are a bit shorter again, because they're increasing their run rate in the middle overs. Oh, the Zook's just got a bit lucky there. Outside edge has just flown between point and cover, and they've got away with 2 runs. That's a massive shot, and he's out. Pakistan caught. We're going to be in profit here. I'll go back to even money again. While there's a change of batsmen, I'm just going to nip to the bathroom, so I'm going to go on mute. I'll be back in about a minute. All right, won't be long. Okay. So if any of you guys would like this spreadsheet, I'll stick it in my Dropbox and I'll stick a link in to the webinar rooms later for you. I mean, it's pretty basic. Otherwise, you can just knock up your own. You know, it's just a guide of what you want. I'll make it for Windows and Mac. So for those of you with a Mac, I'll stick a numbers link in there. And for those of you with Windows, I will stick an Excel spreadsheet in there. So you see Pakistan are 195. That's because their rate to be even money needs to be around 8.5 to get them to that 170. And they're currently at 8.73. So because they're slightly in front of the rate, they're slightly in front of even money. But this is giving you guys a good lesson on how the market works and how the prices react to the total score. You know, if they were bang on 8.5 per over, they would be bang on even money. So see, they're now 8.69. So it's getting closer. So they'll probably go up a tick here to 197, 198. And then if the next ball's a dot ball, they'll be back to 8.5 per over and they'll go back to bang on even money. So that's how the market works. So it's a good way of thinking, well, why are they even money? Well, they're even money because the market thinks they'll get 170 and they're bang on track at the moment to get 170, right, virtually to the run. And so that's why the market has them at even money. So that's why what you're seeing in the price movements. You know, if they were up at 10.5 at the moment, they'd be around 1.5, 1.4. But if they're only getting 7 and over at the moment, they'd be 2.5, 2.6. So at the moment, there's no real bet for me. They're bang on where they want to be. And if it stayed this way and they ended up with 170, what I would do is I would just, I'm not going to make a lot of money, but I'd take that £4.50 profit and I'd just stick it all on England, and that would be me. That'll be a wide, so you'll see they'll shorten a bit here because they've virtually just picked up 2 runs for no ball. So they get the ball again and they've gone back to 8.85. So the price goes to 192. And what you guys can do, if the really smart ones amongst you, is you can run these models. You could make a model. In fact, I might even make one for us. I've got a guy in the room that can do this for us. We can make a model. And what we would do in that model is we would put in what the target score should be, and you could add each over what the score is, because the model will tell you what it should be to get to that target, and then what the price should be. And then you could go and look and see if the price is above what our model thinks, then we can back. And if it's below, we can lay. So it'll be pretty cool. There's all sorts of stuff we can do. So Sporting Index now have Pakistan at 176. That's because there's only 7 overs left and they've only lost 2 wickets. So they're going to be able to have a real red-hot go at the end. But you see, this wicket is a little bit uneven. There's a nice 4 for the Zooks. That helps. But the Zooks, after 4 overs, are only on 23. So they're only going for 5. Well, let's call it 6. They're going for 6 and over, which only going to put them on 120. They really got to lift their game. So the Zooks need to really crack on the next 2 overs. So here's a spreadsheet I did for the Zooks over here. No, that was Sri Lanka versus West Indies, sorry, in a 50-over game. So that's this one. What's this one? Nothing there. And there's India, Brisbane, Sydney Sixers. So yeah, I'll tidy up the spreadsheet and save it as a fresh one for you. Another nice 4 for the Zooks, unless that's just a replay of the first one. So yeah, they've got them at 176, Andy. So you see they're back to even money here. That could be out. No, he's hit it over his head. I thought mid-on was on the fence, but he wasn't. He was in the circle. So no danger. So after 15 overs, so we've got 8 balls to go. We'll put in our next spreadsheet. So I'm expecting them to be 125. They're clearly going to be well in front of that. So if they're above even money, then I'm going to be backing them again, because I make them, they should be 125 after this period of 15 overs. And I reckon they're going to be closer to 132, which is going to put them in front. So you just ignore these 2 numbers here. They don't mean anything until we put something in these cells. They don't mean anything there. So at the moment, we've lost 1 wicket here. As well, we can add to that if we need to. That's a terrible shot. So that's 14 gone, and the rate is bang on 8.5. So I would expect Pakistan to be even money about now. So they are 204, 206. So they're very, very slight value. Very slight value at the moment, Pakistan. But yeah, I've got them bang on even money. So that 8.5, and that 8.5 there gets them to 170, which is what we've predicted. Wicket keepers just missed a simple stumping for the Zooks, and then they've compounded the error with a wide. So that's great for us. So what we can do is go and get the Zooks up as well. Oh, that's the wrong game. So yeah, we're probably losing. Yeah. We're on at 232. We're only losing £1.23 at the moment. So I'm happy to hang in with the Zooks for now. You've got to hang in there. So we'll go back to England. So you see 204, 206. It's about even money. So let's see what they can get. I've got them 125 at the end of this over. You guys cool with this? You're finding it interesting? Remember, sports betting can be pretty boring. It's just numbers and analysis, and that's a great shot. What a great shot that is. So they'll go odds on here because they're back up to 8.65. So are you understanding the correlation that we have between the run rate and the price, and how you can keep a gauge on it? See, it's still even money, 196, just because Pakistan are just in front of that expected run rate. Sometimes I'm sure you guys, like I do, you look at a market and you think, how do they come up with those numbers? How do you get that? How do you work out a price? It's all market movement, you know. It's like if I put my car in the paper for £5,000, I'm not going to get one phone call. But if I put it in the paper for £50, I'm going to get the phone ringing off the hook. And then you sort of get to that midpoint. You know, you think, oh, well, it's around 2,500. You think, oh, right, some people want to buy, some think it's not. That's the market point. So you see here, they're bang on 125 at the moment, where I said they should be to be even money, right? And they are only 3 balls away from that. So we're pretty close to an even money game. And I'm just using this as a guide. So because they're now going to surpass this, they're now 126. I would expect, if I wasn't looking at this, if I hadn't looked at it, and you said to me, the score now is 126, I'd say, well, Pakistan should be 196, 197. That's the price they should be. So I won't look at it till the end of the over, and we'll see where they are. So that's going to be 127, and they've got 2 balls left. So I said a couple of overs ago, I said I think they'll end up on around 131. So they need a 4 or 2 twos off these last 2 balls. The run rate's 8.66. So again, they're just above that highlight of 8.5. So to be even money, they need to be on 8.5. If they're far above that, they'll be very short price. If they're far below that, they'll be a very big price, like the Zooks at the moment. If we go and have a quick look at the Zooks, and you see they're 250 because they're way down on where they should be. So we'll go and have a look at England in a minute. They've just smashed that for 4. So there's your 131. So if this is a dot ball, then I'm bang on what I thought. And then you might have an opportunity to back Pakistan if they're still above 190. If they're into the 180s, I won't be backing them. But if they're above 190, see, this Predict Viz has them at 187. They're 1.87, are they? Yeah, so I won't be backing them again, because you've got Shoaib. He's only on 4 off 6 balls. So the Zooks ended up with 35 off their power play. So they're a bit short of where they need to be. So let's watch this ball. And that's going to be 1 run. So they're going to end up 1 above where I suggested, 132. And they've only lost the 1 wicket. And the price now, let's go and have a look at the price of England, is 187. So you see the price has drifted a bit from that, even though they increased their run rate and they've done better than what I expected. They were 1 short of my target in the last innings, but dropped in price. Now they've done 7 runs better than my expected target, and they're a higher price, which I don't understand. I would if they'd sort of lost more wickets, but they haven't. So I think Pakistan's a good back bet if they're above 190, but they're not at the moment, because they're 8.8. I think the price is bang on. If they're meant to be even money for 8.5 and they're 8.8, that's going to put them 6 runs ahead of, it's going to put them on 176 if they stick to that. So here we go into the last quarter of the game. So the SP here was obviously 208, and the starting price here was 1.8. And you can see they've only moved 7 ticks in that power play, and they've come down 24 ticks in this one. The reason it's 24 is there's only 4 ticks between 208 and 2. So plus the 20. So they're 187 starting this last total. Now, if they do what I expect here and get 50 from this final play, Johnny Bairstow's dropped the ball there, so that'll be 2 runs, then they're going to end up on 182, and I would have them at around, my price would be 1.7 if they end up 182. Zooks have lost another wicket, 3 for 42, so I may as well go and exit that. That's coming out as a loss. So I'm going to go and take £5 loss on the old Zooks. I might get back in the second innings, but for now, I may as well save 20 quid. They're 3 for 40. So I'm out of that for now. Hopefully they got on the football bet earlier and will forgive me. See, don't look at this as a loss. Okay, this isn't a loss because the game's only a quarter of the way old. I've just taken out my money at the moment until the game sort of settles and I can look at another position. I might end up laying the Zooks later in the game or looking at the second innings. If Barbados were 120 and lost a couple of early wickets, I might take another position. It just, what it does, it stops the bleeding. I can't lose any more money on that game at the moment. So my loss can't go to £8, £12, £15. Oh, it's no point getting out now. I've basically just taken, £19 back off the table and stuck it back in my bank. For the meantime, I don't look at that as a loss yet. I just look at it as a trade that didn't work out. I've bailed out of it and I'll look at it again later. So don't ever feel that you failed if you do something like that and you think it's just, if it's not going your way. So Pakistan are smashing here. And this is actually pretty good for us because I really want to get on England when Tom Banton comes out to bat in the first 6 overs. So to do that, the higher England are, the better it is. But what we've missed while I've been yapping to you is a 1 and a 3, then 6 no balls, and then a 4. So Pakistan are causing carnage here, and they're going to end up well above. Let's go and see what Sporting Index now think. They've got them on 190. They've got Pakistan finishing on 190 here. So that's, Pakistan are going to be very good. I think, let me go and have a look. Oh, Craig, you'll tell me. Craig's in the room. Craig, what did I say to the members for this England-Pakistan game? Did we back Pakistan or did I not even remember to do it? Did I send a bet out on the game? You can't find the email. I probably didn't even know it was on, mate. My head is just literally scrambled eggs at the moment. I really don't. It wasn't, no bet. I'm really sorry about that. I didn't realise they were playing. I remember doing the Caribbean Premier League and, I didn't see the game. So that's all right. So they're not winning or losing. But I know I put the Zooks one in, so I've just gone and told them all I'm out of the Zooks for now. Right, let's get back to it. Oh, what a shot. 6 more. Get in there. So see, because of those positions we took earlier at the value, our loss isn't that big. It's still under £10 at the moment. Pakistan are flying here. I only had them at 182. They're gonna surpass that. They're gonna get 50. Yeah, it could be. But Scott, it's been a good example for you guys to see how you can use this expected runs and where the market should be based on what you're saying. Now, if you look at Sporting Index and they give you 170, it doesn't matter how you break those 4 periods up. It's just how you would think they're going to get them. And on most T20 games, this is how I would expect them. The first 6 overs and then the last 5 over blast, which is exactly what we're seeing. I mean, Pakistan have got 8 wickets left. They're going to go for everything here, and rightly so. But I also think I know how Banton and the others will come out against the Pakistan quicks in the first 6 overs. And I think this match will be very, very quickly back to even money. Now, if you wanted to take a bit of a risk, it's a calculated risk. If you're going to back England at the start of the power play anyway, which I am, you could look at taking them on now. Okay, so I might go and lay Pakistan now because if they lose a couple more wickets in the next few overs, then they're going to be a lot higher. They're not going to go a lot lower than they are now. So now might be the time for me to go and do it. So if I'm going to go and lay them, let's just do it for a liability of £6 at 143. So that's going to give me my maximum liability of 50 quid on them, right, which is there. You don't worry about the 60p. And then all I need now is for them to come back to 1.73 and I'm in profit. So if England can get this game back to even money, then I'm going to pick up a tenner. And if England can get to 150, that'll make Pakistan 3. I'll be able to exit for 30 quid. So I would put my exit at that 305. So I'm going to go and put an exit in at 305. And then if England start in a blaze of glory, we should get that pretty comfortably. I think with this batting lineup, England would be quite confident of chasing down whatever Pakistan can score here. It's another 4. Oh, no, there's someone out there. Banton. You can see it was the right decision to exit the Zooks. They've just lost another wicket, and our exit at 305 is now 340. So from a mindset perspective, you're now not looking at this as a loss. You're looking at this as a win, because if you'd still been in the market, you'd be down more money than you are now. So you've saved money. So it's a good trade. Don't, castigate yourself for a losing trade or making a mistake. There's a Pakistan wicket. Hallelujah, brother. So getting in at our 143 hasn't really helped us. They've only come up 2 ticks, which is a bit surprising. That's because it's Shoaib. It's not Hafiz. If it was Hafiz, it would have gone higher. So don't be cross on yourself for taking a loss. Praise yourself and give yourself confidence and say, Tony, that was a good decision. You took the 305 and they're now 340. So you'd be looking at a bigger loss if you had stayed in that trade. So well done. Good decision. And you congratulate yourself on the good decisions you make. Doesn't matter if they win or lose. This game's all about good decisions. Now, I just made a good decision to lay Pakistan again. I didn't really get any benefit from it, but I can still take confidence from it and say, look, your thinking and your process was right. No matter how well Pakistan bat from here, they can't go down a lot further. The market's factored in a big score. So if they now lose a few quick wickets trying to go real gung-ho, we could even be break even before England bat. That's the logic of what I'm trying to do. So Shashank, is that all making sense to you? The way I'm thinking here and the way I'm approaching the game? Is this how you sort of think about it, or do you do something different? He's still at the party. He's not listening. Yeah, that's right, Simon. There's only a small downside because Pakistan, see, we've come up 5 ticks already from where we were. I was contemplating doing a £100 lay at 1.43, putting another £43 on, but that would have given me a liability of like 80 quid, which is a little bit more than I normally go. You know, when I'm teaching you guys to stick to £50 liability, I always sort of work on £1,000 bank, because that means you can stuff up like this 20 times before you blow your bank. And if you stuff up 20 times, then there's a real problem anyway. So it's probably good. But if you go and double that liability, I mean, you can double the liability, but what it means is that at this liability here, I can let it go all the way to 101 if I wanted to. So I could have sort of doubled the liability and had 100 there. So if I go and do that, let's say I go and lay another 100, then my liability is 150. So then, oh no, because I got on liability. If I go and lay 100 here, my liability goes to 102, but then I'd have to get out if it sort of came back. My £50 loss would be around here. And I really don't like trading out unless it's a last resort. But you can see we've made 10 ticks back already. Pakistan is slowing down with the loss of that wicket. And this geezer on strike is not the guy that's on 47. So we're going okay. The run rate, though, is still up there. It's 9.71. They're at 165 for 3. So if they get 10 runs and over from the last 3, then They're going to be 195. So see, they've renamed or something they've put a sign up the James Anderson end at Old Trafford. Let's go and get this back here anyway. So I'm quite happy with this at the moment. And we're still down under a tenner. And I'm pretty certain, like I'm 80% confident that this deficit will be erased within the first 6 overs of England batting. That's the way the power plays work. And then you can make a decision to stay with it or come out with a small profit. But this guy on strike at the moment, we want him to keep struggling. And he's got a streaky edge away to Moeen Ali down at third man just for a single. Puts Hafiz back on strike. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's even money, iPhone. I'm not sure that wickets really matter now. I think it's all about runs. I think it doesn't matter if England at this stage had 3 wickets or 7. It's a case of you've got 17 balls left. What can they do? And there's another 4. So see, it doesn't matter to the market if that's the number 10 batsman doing that or the number 5. But that's 50 for Hafiz. That was a nice shot. They're going to go close to the 200. They're at 9.8 per over. And I think if England, Pakistan, at the end of this innings are 1.3 anything, I'm going to lay them again. I'm going to go a little bit deeper and then look to exit out of it at the end of the power play. So I don't see any way that England get back to even money in this innings. I've already hit my 170 and they've still got 16 balls to go. So there's another 4. He's just smashed that over the top. This is great from a perspective of if you're wanting to back England in the power play, but I'm not sure they wanted to go for this many. It's been a pretty poor effort. It's also showing that it's showing them all that it's a good batting track. They'll be confident. I mean, look at the team you've got. You've got Banton, Bairstow. You've got Morgan. There's some big hitters. Butler. Oh, I don't think Pakistan will bowl as badly as England, Scott, to be honest. I think Pakistan... I rate England's batting considerably higher than Pakistan's batting, but I rate Pakistan's bowling higher than England's bowling. So it's a good contest. So this is the worst bowling lineup against the worst batting lineup, and then what we'll see in the second innings is the best bowling lineup against the best batting lineup. So you got 2 even contests there. That could be out, I think they should have a look at that. I'm wondering if he's hit this down onto his toes and it's come up to the bowler. I think this could be out. He smashed this down onto his toe and it's popped up in the air. Let's see what the soft signal is. Not out. I think it'll be pretty clear if it's hit the ground or not. Oh, that's a great run out. I think he's out. I'm going to put the camera back on. Oh, here's the run out they're showing now. Oh, he's out. No, he's just in by a bee's dick. He's just in. So they looked at both decisions. Zooks, meanwhile, 58 for 5. Let's go and check their price. 4.5 now, really justifying our decision to make the exit at 3.05. So we're going to have a look at this. England, Pakistan are right back where I made that second entry. So I'm still 1 tick in front of where I was. 2 overs to go, 177 for 3. Run rate, 9.83. So it looks like Paul in our cricket trading room has bet on the 179, 180 run line. So he's fine. He's going to get his 180. He'll get that pretty comfortably. For those of you that want a bit of an update, you'll be able to turn it on and off. But in the here, how you can get, where is it? They don't really have it at the moment. I'll go and see if it's on the Zooks game. Right, so see how they've got the score and the time and stuff up here? A lot of people have asked for the scores and stuff in the software we're doing. So we're going to look at getting that put in somehow. You know how, I'll show you this one. It looks like Betfair are doing a new one. So see how you've got the score here, 1-1, and what's been happening, that sort of stuff that Betfair put on in their videos. So I'm looking to see if we can get this. So that if you're trading on our app and you've got the price down here, you can see what's going on if you want to, or you might be able to get the live feed into it as well. So that's just an idea that we're looking at. 6 more for Pakistan. The Zooks are out to 5, so that's a great decision. And Pakistan 137. And they're 9.98. So they're going to get that 10 and over. They're going to get 200. So just the single there. You've got 8 balls left. So if they get another 16, that's going to be 200. Rashid's bowling in the Caribbean Premier League there. Probably one of the last hopes for the Zooks. Darren Sammy has come in, and Rashid thinks he's got him LBW. Looked pretty out to me. Rashid's not happy. Another single to Pakistan. Let's have a look at this replay again. No, it's hit him outside the line, I think, Rashid. Yeah, it's hit him outside the line. Yeah, Sammy hasn't been great, has he? Right, so we've got 8 balls to go. 9.91 is the run rate. So what you can see over here is Pakistan have increased the run rate at each point of their innings. They've gone 8.5, 8.7, 8.8, and now they're going to be up at 9.9. That's a really well-constructed innings. England are going to have to do something similar. Certainly capable. I think we're going to know our fate pretty sharpish with England, because if it doesn't come off, it's going to be all over pretty quickly. If they lose 3 wickets in the power play, there's no chance they get these runs. But if they can get a decent start, if Banton can tee off again, then I think he's going to be getting us back down near the even money mark. But I might go and put another bet in after this innings just to see where my midpoint would be. Oh, Captain Morgan just drops a one-hander. See, it's not going to really matter. If they lost a wicket there, they've still only got 6 balls left. It doesn't matter. But the difference is it was Hafiz and he'd be out instead of facing the last over. So Morgan jumps, goes with 2 hands, then changes his mind in midair to 1 and puts it down. Disappointing. So 188, 6 balls to go. If they get 12 off this, they hit the 200. They're going to be well in front of where we are. So Tom Curran's going to bowl it, and he's gone for 13 per over so far off his first 3. Zooks are coming back a bit. They're 64 for 5, but I mean, really, you'd want to be pretty close to 100 now. So they're in all sorts, but they haven't just fallen in a complete hole. If they get 9 and over from here, they end up on 135, which is not going to be enough. So I think the Zooks are gone. Right, Tom Curran, what can he do? Or is it Sam Curran? No, it's Tom Curran. Just a single off the first one. So, that's it. I was going to say Pakistan should be around 140, which is, what they are. So that's fine. So it's not really done us any damage going in for that second bet. I mean, it was only a £6 bet anyway, 143, and they're only 141, so only 2 ticks off where we were. It was a bit of a shot to nothing, Like I said, Pakistan weren't going to go down a whole lot, and they've batted really well, yet their price has only moved down 2 ticks from where I entered. Had they collapsed, then we would have been in the money. So do you understand that it was a shot for nothing, right? It's not cost me anything. I'm still exactly where I entered the market at 143 there, but I've had an opportunity to get out of trouble. So if we go and have another quick look, I think it's 170 our exit, isn't it? Our exit is, 173. So if England can get Pakistan up to 173, that's a terrible ball. totally deserved 4, but he's only going to get 2. 1. Only got 1 from that. It's a massive jump there for England from 294 up to 3.6. 3 balls to go. 8 runs required to get the 200. How are we going to go? Then we'll find out what our target is here, set up the chase, and then I'll let you get on with your afternoon and see how you go in the second innings. It's another terrible shot. Terrible ball. This time they come back for 2. So Pakistan have not really punished them. There's a massive 6 to the Zooks. What a shot. Glenn. Oh, so Sammy must have got out when I wasn't looking. There's another wicket. Morgan takes the catch. I don't want my emails there. And look, we're back at 143. Right where I was when I made that second bet. So I think that's proved the point that it was a bet to nothing. And Pakistan weren't going to go down a lot more no matter how well they batted, and it was only upside for us. Well, there's no upside, but as you can clearly see, there's been no downside. So if I was to go and put, let's go and have a look. If I was to go and lay 100 here at 143, it's going to nearly double my liability, but it brings my green down to 156. So if Banton hit 2 4s in the first over, I'd be in the green. Now, what that does is it means it moves my exit to 119. So they're the decisions you want to make. There's nothing wrong with having a bigger liability here. When it was £50, I could have let Pakistan go to 101 and give myself every possible chance to win the game. What I've done now is I've taken a position that if England start well, I'll be out and in the green in 1 over. If they lose a couple of wickets, I can just take an exit down here. So you might want to say, do half of that. So let's do half of it. Let's just go and put £50 back in, and that just makes it a £50 lay. So my 156 will go higher, but it won't go as high as 171. So it'll be 163 or something, 162. We'll find out in a minute when that gets matched. So I'm going to go and take, £26 liability off this 93. So it should give me around 67 once this is matched, right? 72. So now my exit is 161 rather than the 156. But now I can let the price go down to 112 rather than 119. So I've bought myself 5 extra ticks on the exit, but I've also made my green 5 ticks higher. So it's just flexibility. You guys got to work out what you think you want to get to. So I didn't realise that the 3 balls had finished there. So we'll go and let's see what they finished on here. 7 runs, 1 wicket. So they're 195 for 4. So we're going to put in 195, and they lost 2 wickets in that period. And their price is now 143. Okay, so you can see from that how it's gone 8.5, 8.7, 8.8, and then the big finish. So I expected them to end up with 182. So they got 63 off that period. So the 50 I expected plus another 13. So you can see they improved in 3 of the 4 periods of play on what I was expecting. I expected 45, they got 51. I expected 37, they only got 36. I expected 38, they got 45. And I expected 50, they got 63. Okay, so now their price is 1.43. What we've got to do is we go and, so this here, or this here, sorry, equals that should be. So what they've got is 195. So the chase needs to be equals that plus 1. So they need 196. So now I've got to go and work out how I think England will get 196. Now they obviously have to go really hard. So I'm going to stick in 55 here. Then I'm going to have to up this second one, 45. And I think they're going to have to get about 43 for that one. So they're going to have to get about 55 for that. So that puts them on 198. So I can take 3 off. So I'll give them 3 of the benefit of the doubt at the beginning. So, I mean, this is just ball guide. You can mix this up to what you think. Would any of you guys disagree with that? 52, 45, 43, 55. That's not unreasonable, is it? So you can see here that they need to get up to the 9.5. So if they get their 52 off the 6, oh, that won't change until I put a thing in. So if I put in 56 here, then that should change. Oh, no, it's done it there. Not sure what I've done on that spreadsheet. Let's change that to 65. No, that doesn't work either, does it? I'll fix the sheet up before it anyway, before I send it to you guys. It's Mickey Mouse Cricket. The Zooks. Another catch. Great stuff. So anyway, we'll get rid of that because that's not what they are. I'll fix that spreadsheet up. But this is how I think England need to chase the target. So what I think is if they get 52, then they might not quite be even money, but that's what they need to do if you want to see if you're on track. So if England surpass 52, they'll be a lot higher than the 143 Pakistan. And if they get a lot less than 52, then they're going to shorten. So that's what I think will happen. What I've done is I've put another lay-in of Pakistan there. So my break-even point is 161. So I'm looking for Banton and Bairstow to come out and go big. They've got the talent and the team here, England, to, with Milan and them to go big all the way. So they can give it a great shot. It's not a huge ground. It's a good batting wicket. I think we'll be all right. Yeah, so iPhone thinks if they get 60 plus in the power play, they'll be pretty close to even money. It'll be game on. It'll all depend on how they get them and the how many wickets they lose. If they're none for 60 or 2 for 59, huge difference. But anyway, I'm going to go and get something to eat, get a cup of tea, trade the second half. I'll be in Web Central with you. I'll be in 100 Club. I will be in the Sports Trader members room if you're going to be around. So I'll stop the recording for this one and go and get it up on site for the guys that want to chase it. My thoughts on the game, I think Pakistan win the game, but I do think England can definitely get me back into the green in the first period of power play. And then what I'd probably look to do, if I can get green in the first period, is after the 6 overs, I would trade out and put all my profit on Pakistan to win the game. But I'll keep informed in Web Central of what I'm doing. All right, guys, thanks very much for your company. I hope you've learned something there. I hope that was a bit informative and you understand a bit more. We've got plenty of T20 cricket coming up. We've got CPL. We've got Australia and England playing Friday night, which will be a cracker. Then we've got IPL. If that does go ahead, apparently one of the teams, Chennai Super Kings, I think most of them have got coronavirus. But that's okay, iPhone. That's why we're here, mate, to do these webinars and hope you all learned something. And 13 of them, so that's the whole team, got coronavirus. So, right, I'm going to get a cup of tea. Bairstow is coming out to bat, so good luck if you've done what I've done. We need England Pakistan, sorry, to get to 161, and we're in the money. All right, talk to you soon, guys. Thanks for your company. Bye for now. So just as a quick follow-up to that, this is what we did in the room afterwards. You could see England made a good start and came back up to 1.53 there. So only 5 or 6 ticks off our exit. And then the good run continued, and you could see they went up into profit. So we could now take £12.11 profit. So that's where the game eventually got to. They went above even money. The market flipped, and I hedged it out just above even money and took a little bit of profit there either way. And that's where we left it. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.